Hi, Grandma Mary here, and I am so excited today. I have the lovely and fantastic Cynthia Sanchez from Oh So Pinteresting here with us today, and we are going to have an Oh So Pinteresting conversation. Welcome, Cynthia.
Oh, Grandma, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. You're going to make me blush.
I just have to say a couple words about Cynthia. I have known her online for a while, and I'm just blown away by what she's been doing out there in such a short time. She has taken her blog through the roof. She's got a podcast, not to mention beautiful Pinterest boards. You got to go check them out. But she's done amazing things in a short time, and I met her through her social media manager school. So I'm just so honored to have you on today and watch what you've done.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's a complete honor for me to be on here today. I actually was aware of you before Social Media Manager School, of your alter ego, somebody we might know named Andrea.
Yeah. And she couldn't be here today. Usually she kind of hogs the conversation, so I try not to get her on too much because I need more about me and you and she butts in too much. So
I understand. I understand. Yeah, I've met her. I know what she's like. Yeah.
So let's tell us a little bit for people who aren't familiar with Pinterest. I mean, people kind of have heard of Pinterest, but tell us a little bit about how it works and why it's so interesting, or shall we say Pinteresting?
Well, Pinterest in essence is a visual bookmarking tool. And what you can do is kind of set aside images that you find online, linked to websites or blogs or anything like that, or even upload your own images about anything you find interesting. And the way you can really use it, I guess, really depends on what your needs are. And that's really, it's so flexible. It's really like, I kind of like to give a butter knife analogy to it sometimes, kind of, I know it's a little odd, Grandma.
It's like butter.
It's like butter, yeah.
I love butter. Who doesn't love butter?
Exactly. But the butter knife, when I was growing up, was always a replacement for Dad's toolbox for me because it was handy to grab in the kitchen, and it would be a screwdriver, it would be a hammer, it would be something to scrape with. I could use it in so many different ways. Pinterest is the same for me. I can do so many things with it, and that's why I love it so much.
I love it. Pinterest is your butter knife. Okay, good. Fantastic. So tell us, how did you get started? I mean, how long has Pinterest been around, really, and how did you get started?
Well, it's only been around for a few years. It kind of started very beta 2010-ish and, kind of invite only into 2012, early 2012. The invites went away and then everybody could join. And really when it got started back in 2011, my mom, gotta love your mom, she actually jumped onto it first and sent me an invitation. It's like, Mom, I don't have time for this. I'm busy. I'm working, the kids, I'm barely getting on Facebook, and that was enough, and she's like, I'll give it a try. And, one Saturday or something, I was just, I had a little bit of time. I jumped on and I was hooked.
Boom, it's like 7 hours later, right? It's there goes the Saturday, right?
Exactly. It just showed me a side of the internet that I had never discovered before. Where I have my interests, my hobbies, the things that I was really interested in. Of course, you go to Google and you Google it, but I was getting the same results over and over and over again. If you can kind of imagine, the internet was getting a little bit boring for me because I guess I just wasn't creative enough to put in different search terms. Who knows? But when I jumped on Pinterest, I was being taken to all of these different websites and blogs because each one of those images links me back out to somewhere. And I was discovering things that I didn't even know existed, quick recipes, things to do around the house, things to buy. I used it that year for Christmas shopping. It was just, I was saying Pinterest a lot, and my family was actually getting a little bit tired of it. You can imagine how they feel now because it's almost every other word out of my mouth. But it just took over, and that really surprised me because being my husband and I are kind of geeky gadget kind of people, and as the internet evolved, we kind of grew up with it too, and nothing had ever kind of grabbed my attention the way Pinterest had.
And it's so visual and pretty. I just love it. It's just so, sparkly out there.
How could you ignore it? Yes.
And I have to say, too, is that I even though I'm not that active on Pinterest as much as I'd like to be, I am still getting a lot of traffic from Pinterest.
Yes, and that is one of Pinterest's big strengths. That's one of the things that has helped it, grow so quickly is because it is really good for traffic generation. And the way that really happens is that 80% of the pins on Pinterest are repins, meaning they are shared between people on Pinterest. So let's say, Grandma, that you have a pin that I like, and I repin it to my boards. Well, then all of my followers, let's say I have 10 followers, all 10 of them like it as well. They repin it to their boards, and the 12 of us have the opportunity to link out or to click out and go to that site to see whether it was something to buy or a piece of information or something. And you can see how quickly, because if each of those friends had 10 friends, and since we are friends on Pinterest, the chances are that we have really similar interests, so we might all go to that one piece of content.
Yeah, it's like that old Breck commercial. I'm totally dating myself, and they told 10 friends, and they told 10 friends. It's exponential.
Exactly. Now imagine if 80% of tweets got retweeted.
Oh, man.
Or Facebook shares. I mean, think about it in those terms.
That is a good point there. That's amazing. It's really functional and useful out there. I gotta get more active. I'm telling you. So tell us a little bit about how you get started with like the boards or with an account. I know there's personal accounts and business accounts. What should you have? Are you supposed to have both, or what about even for the solopreneur? Which type of account should they have?
Exactly. There are two different types of accounts. You have your personal accounts and your business accounts. The business accounts launched end of last year around November time. And if you are a solopreneur, entrepreneur, or business, I highly recommend that you do have a business account because they are starting to offer a couple of different features that aren't available on the Pinterest personal account, like analytics. And you want to really keep up with those analytics to kind of see what is working. The analytics that Pinterest offers are a little bit basic, but they can guide you into what really is working for you, who to follow, those kinds of things. And the personal accounts don't offer that. Now, the way they function is exactly the same. So you have your boards, which I like to think of your whole Pinterest account as a file cabinet. And your boards are the individual files that go within that cabinet. And then the files, the pieces of information that go in the file folders are the pins. And those pins, like, we kind of talked about a little before, then link out to somewhere on the internet, or you could just upload images and then, they just live there on Pinterest as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and what you should pin, depending on for me, I like to I'm, a solopreneur, and my account is a little bit of a combination between personal and business. I make sure, since this is representing my business, that the business information is up top, front and center. And then if people are interested to know more about my interests, in the personal side of me, just to kind of show a little bit of my personality, I put those lower, but they're still there.
Yeah, I like that. Get a little personal, people. It doesn't hurt anything. People want to know a little bit about you, right?
Exactly. Now, I might not want to show my deep, dark, guilty pleasures that I like to pig out on, ice cream every Friday night, and I have a whole board dedicated to chocolate fudge ice cream.
Right.
That might be, or, something else. That gets a little too personal sometimes. So, but what you have for that is you can put that on a secret board. So that way it's still on that account, but not everybody has to see it.
Right, yeah, you don't need to be pinning up your favorite lingerie or something like that, who knows, or like anything, some of the humor out there is a little bit edgy. Maybe you want to be a little safer for your business board, I would think. I don't know, I like getting a little edgy every once in a while.
Yeah, and for some people that really works, push the envelope a little if that really works for your brand. But, overall keep it professional, in line. Of course, you may not want to go into, really controversial topics or things like, maybe that lingerie that you spoke of. But Grandma, she might, there's some great things out there.
Hey, I like some good lingerie like the rest of them.
There you go.
So how about, should you map out your boards ahead of time? Do we need a whole grand plan here before you get started?
Yes, definitely. It's kind of like jumping out on the highway and not knowing where you're going. You might end up in trouble. Um, yes, you should have a plan. You don't want to get into trouble. So before jumping on Pinterest, think about the lifestyle of your ideal person that you're trying to reach in regards to your business or your services or your offerings. So let's say I have a tire shop. Okay. Well, yes, everybody that wants to buy tires probably eats, but I'm not going to be posting a majority of my pins to be recipes. It doesn't make sense.
Good point.
But if I pin maybe tailgate recipes or, race car theme, cupcakes or things like that that had to do with cars and driving, that makes a little more sense than me posting, the latest shrimp salad recipe that's out there that really doesn't have anything to do with tires or cars.
I like that's a good analogy there. I like that.
Yeah. So really think about, the lifestyle based around your business. And you want to have a minimum of 5 pins for each board ready to go before you make that board public, before you really post that board. Because if not, then you're going to have empty spaces on your Pinterest account. When people come to check out your Pinterest account, you got all these little blank spaces. It kind of looks kind of halfway done. It doesn't look finished. It doesn't look polished. So a minimum of 5 pins per board.
Good point. Great point. Love that tip. Great. I got to go look at my boards. I'm like, oh, man, I might have some half-done boards out there.
It happens.
Yeah. So tell us how to stand out on Pinterest. What can you do to make it really look great? And what are some examples of some great boards or great sites that you like out there on Pinterest that really stand out?
Yeah, I think it goes back to staying consistent to the lifestyle of your target person, who you're really trying to reach and communicate, build that relationship with. Keep consistent to that. Use images that are or pin images, or use images in your own content that are really get to the point, that really represent whatever it is you're talking about, and use those images as your board cover images to kind of give that really pretty look to your boards. There's some content out there that's just amazing content, but it's got just this grainy little picture of nothing. It's like, oh, I'd really rather have that, because that's like my star piece of information, for whatever board that is. But they chose, a not so great image. But make sure those board cover images have a really good image, and you can adjust them. You can kind of scroll them up and down to get the main part of the image in the board cover to represent what that board is about. So like my food recipe board, I change seasonally. In the summertime, something nice and fresh and bright and light, a salad type of thing. But now that it's going to start getting into fall time, I'll switch to a soup or something more comfort food like thing. So you can kind of change those things up as well.
Change up your boards. Be fresh.
Exactly.
I like it.
Exactly.
I was picturing them always kind of static, but you want to, you're adding to them, but change up the cover to be a little bit more seasonal maybe. I love that tip.
Exactly. Or as if you have a new promotion coming out, if there's something that you want to promote, change that board cover image to whatever it is you're promoting at that time. If you have a product board, then you can change it to maybe that season is going out and you want to get rid of all the summer stuff, feature the summer stuff, put that, up more often, more frequently, or, at the front of your cover board or the board image. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. And tell us about give us a couple places to go look at that you, obviously yours.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. But ModCloth does an absolutely wonderful job.
I like them on Facebook, too. I have to say they're great. They've got some good visuals.
They do, and they're really good as far as incorporating that lifestyle and the images they use. And, if you find a ModCloth pin, whether on their board or somewhere else on Pinterest, and you click out to it, it welcomes you when you go to their site. Welcome, my Pinterest friend, or something like that. So they're really into Pinterest. Another one that I really like is Sephora, and they're a makeup kind of company. But what they're doing with their Pinterest account is they are really getting down to the value of it for their customers. So they'll give these tutorial guides on how to use the products to buy in their store. Going into their store could be overwhelming because, I don't know what to do with that blush or that cream or that whatever.
I know. Where do I put that? I don't know.
Exactly. We may put it in the wrong place and get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so they give these, just kind of like cartoon drawings, so it's really helpful. And, that's another thing. Be helpful to the people that you're wanting to, to connect with, to serve. And, put other information on there that would help them. So the tire shop, example, maybe they could start pinning content about how to change your tire in 5 minutes.
That's great. So just tell us a little bit more about how we can find you. How do we find you out there online? I mean, tell us about your site, give us your addresses.
Sure. The best place to find me, contact me, reach me, call me. You can do that all through ohsopinteresting.com. And, of course, you can find me on Pinterest, and my user ID is Cynthia Pins. And I am on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and all those places, too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the Pinterest, so it's pinterest.com, then just / Cynthia Pins.
That is it.
All right, fantastic. Love it. Love this information. I'm getting over to Pinterest right now. Spruce things up over there. Love these tips. Thank you, Cynthia. Great to hang with you today, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Grandma. It was my pleasure.
Bye-bye, everyone.